The bridge from reality to legend is an easy one to cross, a way to break up the monotony of day-to-day life. Role-playing, storytelling, and the sharing of these experiences is therapeutic and rewarding, a form of escapism. The juicy details of a tall tale are often easier to sink one's teeth into than a bland account of the actual events. That being said, it's also well known that reality can be far more twisted than fiction, and that, as with all of the bridges we researched, is where we find ourselves with this story, somewhere between truth and the legend. Built in 1910, this pin-connected, 4-panel Pratt Truss pony bridge crosses over Riveau Creek in the Missouri River bottoms of South Callaway County. The old Highway 94, or Old 94 Bridge, sits outside of Wainwright, Missouri, not far from the state capital of Jefferson City. Surrounded by farmlands that double as floodlands when the river comes up, this bridge lies hidden amongst the trees, no longer open to vehicular traffic. The spooky legend surrounding the old 94 bridge tells a tragic tale. An entire family, vocal anti-slavery supporters, was murdered at the hands of a Confederate mob. According to the story, each member of the family was hanged from the bridge, including the father, mother, a daughter, and twin sons. Legend has it that the cries of the deceased can still be heard, ringing out through time and space. Some visitors report hearing loud banging and scratching noises emanating from the bridge, and others report seeing unexplained wet footprints on the bridge that seem to appear out of nowhere. Some of the more obscure legends from this bridge include a spook light that chases and follows visitors through the bottoms for miles. Another lesser-known legend from the old 94 bridge tells of a creature that stalks the area, hiding in the trees and thicket around the bridge. Although no physical description is ever given, it's described as some kind of watchdog over the bridge. Perhaps it's the watchdog of the most famous ghost from this area, a mischievous spirit known as Ophi. Ophi is known to masquerade as a careless hitchhiker that allows himself to get hit by passing cars on the old highway and back roads around the old 94 bridge. When drivers get out of their car to check on whatever they just hit, they find nothing. No body of a mysterious hitchhiker, no car damage, nada. Although some of these drivers do report being chased back into their car or down the road by an unknown creature, lending credence to the idea that the creature is some kind of spiritual servant for Ophi. And it's not just the creature that's chasing people out of the area. One strange report from Reddit tells of a group of legend trippers out for an adventure to find the old haunted bridge. On their way, they reported seeing dead animals hanging from the trees along the road. When they arrived at the bridge itself and exited their vehicles, the atmosphere was disturbing, and so they called a friend and put the phone on speaker while they investigated the area, presumably as an outside safety net should anything happen. Well, something did happen. As they walked onto the bridge and began exploring, they suddenly noticed a truck on the opposite side just sitting there. The group assumed the truck had already been there since they would have likely heard it pull up. As they took a closer look, they realized there was a person sitting in the driver's seat, too shadowy to make out any features. Suddenly, the truck turned its lights on and began creeping across the non-passable bridge. The group freaked and ran back to their car, taking off as fast as possible. What ensued, according to the story, was a 50-mile-an-hour chase down the gravel back roads, the truck on their tail the whole way. And when they made it back to the highway and the dust cloud cleared, the truck was nowhere to be seen. And when the friend who they had on speakerphone called back, they described hearing unexplained whispering sounds talking into the phone while they listened to their friends investigate. Possibly the whispers of the dead at the old 94 bridge. Accounts of the hauntings out at the old 94 bridge can be found in the books Missouri Ghosts by Joan Gilbert, Haunted Bridges by Rich Newman, Haunted Jefferson City by Janice Tremeear, and in other books and internet forums. After researching and finding little to support the original story of a family being murdered here, it just doesn't seem to have happened. Likely, it's a bit of pro-Confederate propaganda, a legend where an anti-slavery family met their doom, a way for the losing team to still feel like they got their licks in. It should be noted that during the time of the Civil War, Callaway County was located in the Little Dixie region of the state. If a Union family did live in the region at the time, they would have been in the minority and likely subject to intense ridicule and perhaps extreme and maybe even physical hostility. While we didn't find any evidence of the hanged Union family, we did find some very real and very spooky reports from the old 94 bridge. In 2013, a pedestrian exploring near the bridge found 2 human skulls, one missing some pieces, and part of a tombstone. The human remains contained a skull cap that was speculated to have been cut as part of an autopsy. The authorities in the same report claimed to have investigated a headless human skeleton that washed up in the exact same area years prior. According to the reports, the remains were not likely to be connected to any kind of murder or missing persons report. Instead, it's more likely that the headstone and bones were washed up from the cemeteries and grave plots unfortunately located near the Missouri River bottoms. When the Missouri River floods, this area serves as a backup for the floodwaters. With these floods, Mother Nature erodes the land and takes the dead and buried with her, displacing the human remains wherever she pleases. And what's more, the area around the old 94 bridge is said to be home to a Native American burial ground. While the source of the bones and tombstone remain in doubt, there's certainly no doubt that the very real story adds to the spookiness here at Old 94. We made 2 trips to the Old 94 bridge, one on a dark summer night in 2022, and another day into night trip in February of 23. When traveling to the bridge in the dark, it just kind of comes out of nowhere through the thick of the foliage. Our first trip was around the 4th of July, and we found some firework trash left behind. We found the purple dragon interesting, and were both tempted to take it, but decided not to take any chances. While we generally take a skeptical approach to the paranormal, we do keep open minds and are fully aware that anomalous events do occur in our reality. Whether spirit-related or not is up to personal interpretation. That being said, we personally prefer not to take souvenirs or potentially haunted objects from the locations we visit. Our second trip to the bridge was in the winter of early 2023. We encountered some technical difficulties on this expedition and had to go with a traditional SB7 recording method for our contact session. This is where the spirit box is played out loud and recorded with a voice recorder. During the contact session, we had a truck pull up on the opposite side of the bridge from where we were parked. The truck pulled up on the west side while we were parked on the east side of the bridge. It was a bit of a startling situation as we were in the middle of the contact session and were super focused. Were we about to be chased away by the shadowy menace of the old 94 bridge? After they arrived and pulled just out of view behind a line of trees, they sat there for the duration of the time we were at the bridge. It is a secluded road, and so it seems likely they were parking there to get away for a bit. This caused an interruption and a restart of our contact session, like we mentioned before. And it also brought to mind the story we read earlier about the truck chasing the group of friends away from the bridge. Hauntings and ghost encounters seem to be a personal experience, unique to the experiencer. So, why leave it to us to force our interpretations of the evidence? We've provided links in the description to our investigation reports, transcripts, and audio files of each contact session. For those interested, you can review the questions we asked, the words that our word generator application produced, and scan for any potential audio anomalies in the review. This is our attempt to make the investigation data interactive, open-sourced, and available for independent review. Please give us feedback if you interact with the data. Let us know what we can do to make the experience better, or how we can more effectively present the research. We're certainly not here to encourage people to forget the dark memories of the American Civil War, nor should the savage acts on humanity at the time be forgiven. While the research suggests that it's unlikely a family was hanged here, there were in fact human tragedies of equal and greater impact during the time, right here in this area. But the truth is, nothing of record happened here. We do understand the concept of tragedies tainting a place, and so, perhaps, the gruesome stories being told over and over about this place creates a dark energy here. What we're trying to do is get the widest possible lens on these legends, to get as many details as we can and share those with others interested in the story. Because, while the truth isn't always as salacious as the legend, it is the truth, what really happened.